This is where I'm sitting this morning. I got up at 5. I came out here with the dogs. I got up at 5 and meditated and got myself a jar of coffee and came out to sit on the edge. I've been sitting here for a while contemplating. I had a meeting yesterday with my twin and with my twin flame, putting in the keywords so that whoever these videos interests will be able to find him. So I had a meeting yesterday with him, and I'll tell the story in the 3D, and then at some point I know that the 5D is going to take over. So how did we physically end up meeting? Yesterday afternoon, I took my son into Tiberias, and I called him and asked him, to find out where he was and ask him if he wanted me to either come over, or if he wanted us to meet at the beach because I was already out. And yesterday, let's just say that I was, that all day I had intentions of doing specific work that I didn't end up doing because I couldn't find the concentration. So in the end, I took my son and I asked him if he wanted to meet up, and he said no, that he was on his way back from Tel Aviv, and that he was tired and he was still on his way home. So I said, okay. He said, maybe the beach later, we'll see. And I said, okay. And then I dropped my son off, and then I was on my way home. On my way to the beach, and I realized that, and I had forgotten the dogs, so I didn't want to go to the beach without the dogs. The dogs were closed in the house all day. So I went home and I spent a little bit of time there doing a couple of things that I wanted to do. And then I left with the dogs to go to the beach. And right before I got to the beach, he called me and asked me if if I wanted to either come over or if we meet at the beach, what I would prefer. And I said, well, I'll come over. And so I went over, and I actually got there a few minutes before he even got there back from where he was. And so it was really nice. We spent the late afternoon evening together. And I think I left his place a little before 9. We had a really good time. I feel like in the that something is really let loose between us. And in the last couple of meetings, he's brought in like old things from his past to that keepsakes and things like that we've been looking at. And he tells me stories about them, and I get to know him um, a lot more intimate, I feel like. And on the other hand, this letting go of all of the letting go of the romantic feelings. I feel like it's getting easier. I had that switch in my mind, but it still goes back and forth. reprogram my mind. I love him as a person. That's the truth. And when you love somebody as a person, you want for their best. And you want for them what they want for them. And I want for me the best for me. And for me, the best for me would be in a even mutual relationship. And I realized that him and I feel differently in that way. I feel like with him, he takes it as a friendship where it's kind of like, see, that's not 100% true either. I was going to say that it's kind of like take it or leave it, but that's not 100% sure. Uh, true. There's a fighter jet going across. Looks like a F-16, two of them. They usually go in pairs, at least. And it seems like I'm so tired. I'm tired of it. I want to be left off the hook of the constant thinking about it. And my mind keeps going into places like I think, well, maybe I should really, really just really push myself and start dating just to, get my mind onto other things, into other places, knowingly, knowing that that's what I'm doing. And then I think to myself, I have this other side that says, well, that's just running away from doing the self work. And also, what I'm going to put, there's so many different sides to this. I'm going to put, there's already this equation going on. I'm going to add some more drama into it, something more to take my attention. Then I think, well, maybe it'll take my attention off of that, and then I'll have more attention for other things. Or maybe it'll loosen that up to where there's not so much on weight on that. I really want to get excited about my work. I want it to not be work. I want it to be play. What I really want to do is just be off the hook. And I feel like that's where everything's leading up to, for me, just being completely off the hook and understanding and somehow being provided for by getting up in the morning and following my nose and just doing what I want to do. Because every morning it seems like I get up and I'm trying to force myself to do a whole bunch of stuff that I need to do. That village over there, it just has I have to show it to you. It's just, You see, oh, I can't zoom. But over there, that village that's on the mountain, it has like a speck of sun highlighting it. It's so pretty. Freaking crying video again. What I was saying in one of my videos yesterday, and I remembered that I didn't continue it, about the going into your subconscious and being able to access it. That yesterday in one of the videos I was crying, and I was crying and I was talking about something different, but I feel like the crying on a subconscious level has to do with um, the feelings of being rejected. Every time before I call my other one, every time before I call my twin flame, it's like I have to get up the courage to call him or to ask him if he wants to meet or something, because of that rejection. Because it's, a rejection by other people doesn't seem to be such a big deal. If you call somebody, hey, can you meet? Do you want to go? And they say, no, we're going here, we're doing that, or whatever. It's just like, okay, well, that's part of it. But when you ask your twin flame if you want to do something and they reject you, it's like it hits you in all the different levels. And I think on the that I know that I shouldn't be taking it so hard. Of course, you ask somebody if they can do something, either they can or they can't. It's not, it has nothing to do with me. And yesterday, after I called him and he said no in the beginning, after that I made a few videos in between that time and the time that we met. And in some of the videos I'm crying and I'm talking about something else though. And I was thinking afterwards that on a subconscious level, I'm feeling that rejection, and it's difficult. So I'm crying, but I'm crying about something else because the crying has to be released. And I'm thinking to myself that that's what's going on in this video too, because we had a spectacular time. I enjoy his company. It was funny. We had a phone conversation with one of his good friends from when he was young, and we talked on the phone with him. He was on speaker for a long time, and we videotaped our conversation that we had. We had a really good conversation. And during part of the conversation, he was telling me about a date that he went on. Well, parts of it. Not really parts of it, just more like about it. Oh, wow. There's going like 4 fighter jets across the sky. I'm not even going to turn around. They're so small you wouldn't even be able to see them up there. And I can't zoom. So I feel like this crying is a release of that. And it's bringing my subconscious to my conscious. So it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. It's that emotion. And then when I feel that emotion, it brings out of me all of the other things, because the emotion is at a subconscious level. It also brings up all the other things that are in my life that are making me feel in that way so that I can talk about them. So it's actually helping me sort myself out feeling this way. I can see it as a gift. I see it as a gift anyway. I'm so toughening up. But every time that I cry like this, every time that I feel this way, it brings out of my subconscious all the other things in my life that are making me feel this way. And then I get a good cry about them all together. Isn't it interesting to understand yourself psychologically? And I can see also that it's cleaning out my subconscious, all of this. I was talking the other day at the beach about like bipolar or like what do you call it? Something mania depressia. It's a manic depression, or something like that in English. Somebody there was saying that they're in their manic state. And not in their and I was thinking to him, and he asked me, well, where are you? And I said, well, I'm also in my manic state, because I can see the going, but I see it not as a disorder. I see it as the spiral of expansion, and then we go and we get medicated to take away the spiral, and then our expansion stops, just so we can be a deadbeat and fit into society and do our work without, it turns us into a robot. I did take those that well, I'm going to say, well, thank God that we have those things that can help us cope when we need help for coping. I'm not by any means bashing, there's, if you can go through it without it, but I also took medication when I went through this deep, deep depression. I didn't take medication at all, but then when I started coming out of the depression, I started having like these episodes of charada. It's like these fear, where fear just grips you and you can't. And it was so bad that my friend took me to the hospital, we went to the doctor and we got like a apnea, which is, where they send you to the hospital to a psychiatric ward, but the emergency. And I went up there and I got some kind of medication, and I didn't take it. I didn't take it. I didn't take it. I didn't take it for the longest time. I didn't take it, but I had it. I had the prescription, and that was when I went and I got I couldn't work, and I couldn't work for like 6 months, and I didn't know it. I was living off of savings, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I finished all my savings. I even had put down money on a property to buy a house, and I pulled that money back and let go of the property because I couldn't work. And I let myself off the hook because I know that I couldn't. I couldn't. And then and then I started having like suicidal thoughts. And right when that started happening, my friend's sister committed suicide, and she left her 9-year-old son. And I saw that and I said, and I had quit eating pretty much for like 2 months. I barely ate. I got really thin, super thin. I started getting like bruises from nothing. And so after that happened, I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to recover from this. And I started taking vitamins, and I started force feeding myself eating, and I started taking those pills. And when I started taking them, I wanted them to work right away. It takes, see, they say it takes about a month for them to work. Thing is that it takes about a month for them to get to their plateau. But during that time, after already about a week, you start feeling the difference, and it starts getting better and better. So it's not exactly a month. It's just waiting it out a little while. And then I was on those pills for a little over a year, and they really flat made me like monotone. And so at some point, and also, yeah, it affects your libido. I found that it didn't really affect my libido so much, but it affects your ability to get to an orgasm and the height of the orgasm. So what I feel like is when you have an orgasm, you're completely connected to the all. You completely lose your ego and you're in the now and you're connected to your you're completely connected. You lose yourself. And those pills that you take, they kind of cut you off from that place. You start I think my son. Oh, beautiful. Look at the sky behind me. I don't know if you can see it. There's rays. There you go. Put you down for a minute so I can tie this. There, you're sitting in my seat. They get super excited when we start moving. Come on, you guys, let's go. So, in this twin flame journey, I think that the secret is that you really do have to let go, but you really do have to let go. You can't just pretend like you're letting go because it doesn't work. You can't be in touch when you have, and you can't, well, you can be in touch, but you'll still keep looping until you can completely let go. And I understand this now because I see how it is when you have expectations and you come and you are hindering that other person and you don't want to be hindered and you don't want to hinder somebody else. And then you're not allowing them to completely be themselves when they're with you. And then you don't like them if they're not completely themselves because you can see right through it. Like, I'm thinking about all the different ways that, because I know it's a truth, because I can feel it, you have to let go. I'm trying to work it out, see it in different ways, not just in the way, I'm trying to find the proof of that you have to let go. Like the different reasonings of why you have to let go in order for it to work. And then I am looking inward in myself to try to see where it hits me, where it meets. So if we're the same soul and we want a completely honest, upfront relationship, and we can see through the other person if they're not being honest, because we can just see right through them, then that is just so pretty. It's just so pretty. I have to show you again. Which way? That way. It's like the sky is, it's just so pretty. Everything is just so pretty. It's like the heavens are talking to the earth. I mean, that's what it looks like. It's just that God is pouring out. It's just so pretty. And if you have jealousies, or if you have expectations of your twin, that they have to fulfill something in you in order for you to be whole, then you're both not whole. And it's because of the one. Okay, well, that's working out for me. If I have expectations of him that he has to be a certain way in order for me to be happy, then first of all, I'm not standing in my power. I'm not standing in my power. So that means that I'm still not in wholeness. Because if I'm in wholeness, that won't make any difference to me. I'll still be whole and I'll be able to stand next to him and want the best for him and wish the best on him and be happy, genuinely happy for him. Like I'm thinking of my daughter, for instance. If my daughter is going out on dates, look, it's just so pretty. If my daughter is going out on dates because she wants to find somebody that makes her happy and that fulfills her, I would be super happy for her to find her happiness. You know, if it, you and that is a comparison. Also, my son, like my sons, I want for their best. And if I can wish that on my twin, I have to get a picture of this if I can. See, I can video and take a picture at the same time. But I want to be able to see the rays that I can't really see in the camera. So if that's a comparison that I can do for him too. If I can fully, cleanly feel like I want the best for him in that way, and for me to be, happy for him and close to him anyway. And I'm trying to think, where is the pain in it? Where's the pain in it? I think there's pain in letting go of knowing him intimately in that way. And also knowing that, well, I know how I am when I get into a romantic relationship. I spend most of my time and effort in that because I want to, not because I'm forced to, or because when I fall in love, I fall in love. And I know that other people have less time and less of my attention and less. So it's also giving up on that, of time and attention and the fun that we have together. He said that he won't be with a partner that has a problem with our friendship, like him and my friendship, because anybody that's trying to hold on to him like that, that won't be. Which I also feel like I wouldn't want to be with anybody that's so jealous that I can't have friends. Like, what, close off my life? And then I'm thinking like of my jealousy. Look at this. It's just so pretty. Look at that. Look at that one. That one down there. They're just so pretty. So then I'm thinking about my jealousies, and I guess that's also kind of like him kind of telling me a story too. Like, if you're jealous and you're hindering my living, then you can't be around me. And then all of what we're going through now is like stimulating all of those places and making me numb in them. It's like going into when you go into a trauma again and again and again until the trauma you already live with it. You're already numb to it. And okay, so you went through that and it just becomes a story without all of the pain and emotion attached to it, and then you can truly get the lessons of it. I feel like that's what's going on with my jealousy. It's like I keep getting my nose rubbed in it, nose rubbed in it, nose rubbed in it over and over and over until it's like dissipating, because it's becoming easier and easier. It's becoming easier and easier, and I'm kind of just letting go of expectation, just being where I am, being true to myself. You know, I'm not going to pretend anything, you know. Like I was thinking to myself, sometimes you have this thoughts like, okay, well maybe I should just completely disconnect contact with him so that I can get over him and move on to something else. And then I think to myself, is that what you want? I enjoy my time with him. So I'm going to cut myself off of time that I enjoy, that I can have with him, just because I can't have time with him. Like, that just seems silly. Like, what I really, ultimately, what I want is to spend time with him, right? That's what I want, because I enjoy my time with him, because I'm learning from him, because I'm rising, because I'm becoming stronger, because it's funny, because I'm interested, because I love him. Ultimately, that's what I want. So why would it make sense for me to say, okay, this person that I love, I don't want any contact with them because they don't want a romantic relationship with me? That's just silly. That doesn't even make sense. Okay. I don't know what you can see. It's just so pretty. Okay. Well, I'm glad I went through those thoughts, because that worked something out for me really good. So, thank you for watching.